Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 140th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. It's the usual 31k rules, no artillery, no elephants, 3 berserkers max, 2 horse archers max, and 6 cavalry max. And the team I'm in today consists of RTW player Hannibal Barker. I noticed that he's put Viv on the front of his name. Viv is a very old clan that used to be on RTW. Probably I haven't seen a Viv clan member for about 7 years now. So, but it is RTW player Hannibal Barker. Then we have Brotherhood member Sacred. He's called himself and Bang, but it is Brotherhood member Sacred, who's bought the Greek Cities faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Lion Dwarf, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. And then myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. So there's our team there. That's pretty good. I know Sacred's been playing RTW, I think, since it first came out, same as myself, and Lion Dwarf and Hanny are good players too. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Brotherhood member Sacred's Greek Cities army. As you can see, it's quite unusual because he's bought 20 units of Spartans. No archers, no armoured hoplites, just 20 units of Spartans. So to be able to afford 20 units of Spartans, my guess is that they've only got small upgrades on them. Maybe gold defence or maybe gold attack. So it'll be interesting to see how good 20 Spartans are. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Steve Longshanks, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. And then we have Killer B, Brotherhood member Killer B, who has bought the SBQR faction. He's called himself Constantine in this battle. And then we have Brotherhood member Sam Crow, who has also bought the SBQR faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Mystique, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. So there's the enemy team there. Looks pretty good to me. A lot of experience in that team, and I think this has got the ingredients to be a great battle. If you notice right at the beginning of the game here, can you see how Mystique is bringing her cavalry into a threatening position? Trying to hope maybe to get an opportunity to charge into the flank of as my infantry is moving across to form up in the centre. But if you notice, I've got my cavalry closer, watching to see what will happen next. But it's nice to see an aggressive move right at the beginning of the game. Here you can see Mystique has decided to back her cavalry off here, as I've brought my cavalry over to counter, just in case she was thinking of attacking the flank of my infantry as I'm moving over. And now her cavalry's moving back. Can you see I'm now moving my infantry over to the centre now? But still got my eye on that attacking cavalry with my own cavalry there. Here's an overall view of the battlefield there right at the beginning. If you notice that Sacred has took his Greek city armies across there, his 20 units of Spartans. Looks to be in an aggressive mood there. He looks like he's going to charge into the enemy in front of him. But if you notice, can you see the amount of pilas that are being thrown into his units there from that enemy SBQR army there? Meanwhile, move over on our far right. You can see that RTW player Hannibal Barker there is attacking with his Scipio units there. And if you notice that Sacred now has brought his Spartan units into attack. Now a lot of new players that play RTW, when they play with Greek cities, they very often play in a defensive mode, if you like. But Greek cities used properly can be an incredibly aggressive attacking force. And as you can see there, Sacred is using their great attack to good effect there. If you notice that our allies brought his Scipio cavalry out here to the right flank, ready to charge in when he sees the opportunity. Can you see here the enemy SBQR cavalry charging him? And then our allies charging his Scipio cavalry in, and bang, as that cavalry hits home. You can see several of the SBQR cavalry units are starting to rout there. And if you notice, Sacred's moving like his mini army of Spartans further and further into the enemy SBQR ranks there. Let's say Spartans are a great attacking force if used properly, as well as being a great defensive force. Meanwhile, over on our left here, you can see it's quite quiet at the moment here. But for those of you that's watched other battle videos, you know very often places that are quiet can all of a sudden become hot spots of action. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on our left. Meanwhile, over to our far right again, you can see there's a lot of action going on, a lot of aggressive action there. Can you see our Scipii ally has charged his cavalry in there, routing a heck of a lot of the enemy SBQR units there. That's a nice little combination attack there by our allies. If you notice, we've got our allies Rome Scipii units attacking, plus we've got our allies Greek city Spartan units attacking there, so that's a nice combination attack there on the right flank. But of course we must always remember that we mustn't charge our cavalry through our allies pike units if they've got their pikes down, because friendly pikes kill friendly cavalry. So our allies got to be careful here over on the right to make sure he doesn't charge through his allies fighting Spartan units, or he will lose some cavalry. Right, you can see our allies charging his Scipii cavalry in, and then the enemy SBQR cavalry are counter-attacking there. And bang, as all that cavalry goes in, there's some powerful cavalry hits there going in. Notice how the enemy have got some cavalry units in behind us there, but if you notice, I countered with my my cavalry that I brought over there from the left flank. As you can see, this is a real tussle over here on the right flank with the Spartan units and our allies Scipio, Rome Scipio units there. Meanwhile, back over on our left here, you can see that I've turned my army inwards a little bit here so that I can feed reinforcements from the back of my formation into the left centre there to help my ally out. Okay, so I've got units there to cover to stop them from flanking us, but I can also now throw units into the actual fray there if they're needed. If you notice here in the centre right, you can see there's not a lot of action going on here. But over on our right flank, you can see that there's quite a bit going on over there. But as I say, it's a strange battle because there's nothing happening much in the centre right there, but over on each flank there's a lot of action going on. You can see a lot of the enemy SBQR units have just been routed there by our Greek cities ally. And also our Scipii ally is doing well there over on the right as well, so it looks pretty good for us at the moment on the right flank. Although that SBQR cavalry sat out there to our far right does not look very good from our point of view. As you can see here, we're attacking aggressively here on our left flank. Can you see how Lion Dwarf is really, I think he's got all his units in an attacking mood there. If you notice, I'm throwing in my Scipii cavalry here. And that's going to be a big impact as that cavalry hits. That was a one big massive cavalry hit there as it went in. I was hoping to rout some of the enemy units there, but didn't quite do that. As you can see, there's a lot of fresh enemy SBQR infantry here on our left flank, just waiting, I guess, to charge in. Okay, I'm just going to pause the game here for a second for us to take stock of the situation. As you can see here on our left flank, there's some really aggressive fighting going on here. If you notice, the enemy have got a big advantage in archers. And as you know, if they fire in fire arrows into us, then the fire arrows not only cause deaths, but they also lower morale as well. So they could be the maybe they might be the the key towards the end of the battle for the enemy there. If you notice in the centre here, hardly anything going on here, centre right. But then if we go over to the far right flank, you can see that our allies Scipii army on our right now, after a really good fight, has been routed. So we've got no more enemy, allies Scipii infantry on our right. Our Greek city allies Sacred now is the only units that we've got on our right flank now. I just hope that you'll be able to hold that. With Spartans, they're, as you know, they're pretty elite troops, so they should be able to hopefully hold there on the right. But if they don't, then we'll have a lot of victorious enemy infantry coming over from our right and attacking us. As you can you see the enemy SBQR cavalry charging into the flank of our allied Spartans there, with the hope that the cavalry charge bonus and the impact would rout a lot of the Greek city units there. You see 2 or maybe 3 of the Greek city Spartan units have routed. Bearing in mind that they have only got small upgrades on, they're still doing quite well. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see that there's a lot of aggressive attacking going on. But if you notice, as I said before, can you notice that Mystique has got units out there that are fresh, that she hasn't used yet? And as we've seen in other battle videos, throwing fresh units in against tired units very often can turn the battle. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when those units are charged in. If you notice now that archers are targeting my cavalry, so what I'm going to do now is going to charge my cavalry in. And bang, as that cavalry goes through our infantry into the enemy ranks there. But if you notice that the enemy counterattack with cavalry at the same time, so it's a real tussle here on our left flank here. And as I say, I'm just waiting for that enemy SBQR infantry, that fresh infantry, to be thrown into the melee. If you notice, there's dozens and dozens of fire arrows landing on our troops as well, lowering our morale and causing casualties. So, as I say, I wonder if having all those archers might be the key towards the final stage of the battle. Just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation. Can you see here that the fresh enemy SBQR infantry are just being charged in now? So it'll be interesting to see what type of impact they have. If you go over to the right flank now, can you see that our allies starting to bring Greek cities units over? If you notice here, can you see the fire arrows being fired into the rear of engaged Spartan units? Now those arrows will be causing casualties, but as I said before, they're also going to be lowering the morale of those Spartan units. So that's a heck of a lot of fire arrows going into the back of those units. Nice use by the archer general there, firing arrows into the rear of the units there, the weakest spot. And over here on our far right, you can see that there's still Greek city units fighting enemy SBQR Roman units there. So as you can see at the moment, and the battle is really up in the air at the moment, and with the amount of enemy archers I can see still firing fire arrows into us, I think this could be a really close one, whichever way it's going to go. New players watching this, see how nicely positioned these archers are here, so they can fire into the flank of our units. Remember, the flank and rear are the weakest parts of any unit. So that's a nice positioning there by the so as you can see here, it's still quite touch and go as that enemy SBQR infantry charge in. As I say, those units are fresh infantry units, and as you know, as you've seen in other battle videos before, when fresh units hit, they can cause big damage on tired troops there. If you notice, I'm putting in another cavalry charge there. Let's say we've only got battle damaged cavalry left at the moment, but I'm still hoping it's going to make an impact as it charges in. If you notice that our allies now bringing Greek city Spartan units over from the right flank. So So it'd be interesting to see whether that makes a difference. But can you see the amount of fire arrows that are still being fired into us? If you notice my cavalry, I remember that last cavalry charge I put in, I've broken through and have come out the other side of the infantry there, of the enemy infantry. Now what I'm looking for is probably to turn my cavalry and charge back into the rear of the engaged enemy units there. Did you see? I brought my cavalry through and then charged into the back of those engaged units. If you notice here on our left flank there, the fresh SBQR infantry have already made an impact and charged through our left flank there, and are now moving over to attack our centre. So that goes to show how powerful fresh units being thrown into the battle at this stage really is. As you can see, our allies brought Spartan units over from the right, as I said earlier, so that could make a bit of a difference there. You see our allies generals just been routed there. Our Julii allies generals there just been routed there, so of course all his troops' morale will now drop. And it looks still very much looks up in here. But if you notice, I'm bringing some battle damaged cavalry in from the rear to attack into the back of the enemy units there. If you notice, I went for the general. I was actually trying to go for the enemy SBQR general there, because as I said earlier, if you kill the general, the morale of his troops will drop, and that's what we're really after there. As you can see, it's a real tussle still here at the moment, but with our ally bringing his Spartan units over from the right, that could make a difference. If you can see how battle damaged my cavalry is, I'm just charging the last elements of those into the back of the enemy SBQR infantry there. I'm just hoping that at this stage of the battle, with that cavalry charging in, it might just rout some of those SBQR units there. And can you see the general, the SBQR general now, has just been routed, so the morale of the SBQR infantry now will drop. And with the arrival of our allies Spartan units coming over from the right, this should make a big difference in the overall battle there. If you notice that the enemy have still got their archers still firing loads and loads of arrows into us, but it looks to me like at the moment our team seems to have gone on to win this battle.
The enemy show their true virtue. They are not soldiers, only frightened rabbits running from our men.
All the time, all the way through the battle, those archers have been really causing us casualties and lowering our morale with those fire arrows. Some great manoeuvring there of the archers by the enemy generals there, just getting them at the right angle to cause the most casualties and lower our morale. This is a strange type of battle. If you notice here, can you see there's been a lot of dead here on the left flank and the left centre. But if you move up a little bit to the right centre, can you see there hardly any deaths at all there? And then if you move over to the right flank, you can see there was a heck of a lot of dead there on the battlefield. So that goes to show how intense this battle was on both flanks. But as I said, it's a strange sort of battle because there's hardly any dead in the centre at all there. But if you look at the overall picture there, you can see that, as I say, it was very intense fighting on both flanks. As I say, it's quite an unusual battle for there not to be so many dead in the centre there. There were some massive cavalry charges went in on this right flank. I noticed when we zoomed in on the dead, you could see piles and piles of cavalry. Just goes to show how powerful those cavalry attacks were going in there. If you notice now, we're just mopping up the last of the enemy units. My first thing I'd like to say is really well done to both teams there. There were some great tactical moves, some really massive cavalry attacks, and some great positioning of the archers there to do the most damage and have the most effect. If you look at the kill counts of both armies here, you can see how really close this battle was. Can you see Mystique on the other team got the highest kills? And as I said before, having the highest kills doesn't necessarily mean you're in the winning team, although it usually does. But new players watching this, as you can see, there's some really great kill counts on the other team there. And if you look at our kill counts, you can see that you can see how close the battle really was there. So really well played to the enemy team. I was watching some really great tactical moves there by infantry and cavalry on the other team. Really well done. I'd say really well played to the team I was in as well. I thought there were some great moves. I thought the 20 units of Spartans did very well, bearing in mind they only had small upgrades. Nice kills from them as well. So it was a great battle to be in, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. And it's Spartan Commander saying bye for now.